All right, what is going on, guys? Mizo here. Welcome back to another video. You guys may have clicked this video and you might not have watched my channel in a long time since the downfall of HCF. But guys, I'm here to announce that the new HCF is here. But if you've been following along for like the past few months, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Cobra, our brand new server with our brand new game mode, Cobra Custom Teams. The reason I'm making this video right now is because the first beta map of CCT or Cobra Custom Teams is this Saturday, December 10th at 3 p.m. EST. This is the first ever beta map or public testing iteration of Cobra Custom Teams. So we're inviting all of you guys to join. It's going to be a public beta that anyone can join. It's going to be a week long starting on December 10th. The first official map of Cobra Custom Teams, which will be a full 3-week long map, will actually take place starting December 24th at 3 p.m. EST, also a Saturday. It's going to start then and it'll last 3 weeks. Cobra.gg, which is the Cobra obviously, is our goal at making a new sustainable game mode that's entertaining and appeals to multiple communities of 1.8 Minecraft. So before I get into the details of the game mode and explain everything once again, just remember that this upcoming Saturday, December 10th at 3 p.m. EST is the beta for Cobra Custom Teams. It's going to be a week-long beta, which means it's going to be super fast-paced and it's going to be only meant for really testing out the PvP content. It's not going to be a super realistic representation of what will actually happen in CCT in terms of economy development, progressing, and just how easy stuff is, because this is mainly just for having players have a fun time, fast-paced experience, and testing out all of the content we have to offer. With that being said though, some of the content will be saved for map 1, not only just to like preserve it, but because we want it to be like a special first occurrence, such as the the weekend events like the multiverse event, the ferocity event, and all those sort of things that we have prepared for you guys. So yeah, it won't be everything won't be in for the beta. It'll mainly be like the day-to-day stuff that you guys can experience on a pretty normal basis. That includes all the new events like secure the payload, oddball, hell cage, control the zone, capture the flag, like all those things. So Cobra Custom Teams, also known as CCT for short, is a new competitive team-based game mode all about PvP, PvE, and just having a good time in general by applying the core fundamentals of the most popular game modes on 1.8 Minecraft, such as HCF, which is definitely the most significant part of this game mode, I'd say. Then regular factions, very significant as well, and then Skyblock and prisons for some other niche areas of the game mode, such as economy and PvE and stuff like that. So at its core, it's a team-based game mode that's all about PvP and stuff like that, which is where HCF and factions comes involved, and that's why it's called Cobra Custom Teams. That does not mean you can't have a fun experience as a solo though. Just like on HCF, which is intended to be a teams-based game, there's plenty of solos. Same on the factions. Even like right now I'm doing a faction series as a solo. There's going to be ways that you can play with both the team as a solo and have a good time overall. So Cobra is a 1.8 only server right now. We do have plans to go and support the higher versions of the game, including Bedrock support, but obviously as an inherently PvP based game mode, we have to take that slow and make sure it's in our best interest to do so. But I do want it to be clear that that is one of our top priorities as we move forward. But yeah, for now, expect it to be only 1.8. It does not support 1.7, only 1.8. CCT is a map based system, or a season based system as you may call it. It's 3-week long maps for normal maps of Cobra Custom Teams, which is what we're going to stick to, if not increase over time. We do not want to go lower than 3 weeks because it really wouldn't make sense to for the basis of the game mode. It's nothing like HCF and with the economy and how that developed on there. CCT is its own thing. There's going to be progression over time and plenty of stuff releasing throughout the map to keep it fresh. Like I said though, the beta map that's coming out this Saturday, December 10th at 3 p.m. EST is intended to be a fast-paced version of the CCT game mode, meaning it's only going to be 1 week long, and we're going to be doing stuff in the code to make it fast-paced. Some examples may include like multiplying mob drops and mining drops by like 10. That would very much increase the pace of the economy development, stuff like that. But that'll all be released. For more details on this sort of stuff and like updates and announcements on all things related to Cobra and CCT, you guys gotta join our Discord down below, as well as following us on Twitter. Speaking of the Twitter, we are doing a massive rank giveaway on there as well. We're giving away 25 permanent ranks on the Twitter right now, also in the description below. And for the people watching this video, you know what, I'll give away 25 permanent ranks as well in the comment section. I do have a few requirements though. I want you to tell me what you're most looking forward to for CCT, whether you know right now or after this video is done, if you're going to be online for the beta, and then your IGN. and you have a chance to win one of 25 permanent ranks. So I am working on a master post that goes over all of the content of CCT that will be posted later this week. Again, be in the Discord if you want to see when that comes out right away. It's basically going to put all the stuff I'm talking about right now into text, and you guys can look it over and read it over whenever you want. But we're going to get into it right now, and I'm going to read over something I've written in there that's actually very, very important. So like I said, CCT is our take on the intertwinement of a variety of game modes. So hardcore factions is recognized in the core of the game mode with a big focus on PvP playstyle, competition and events, and a PvP based faction top leaderboard. Regular factions is recognized in CCT with the custom PvP editions of the game mode. So that means custom enchants, armor sets, pets, masks, special items, artifacts, as well as a faction value competition. But most importantly, for those of you who play Minecadia right now, just know that it will not be the same when it comes to damage and balancing. We tend to make it very much more moderate and balanced on CCT so that it's more of a even playing field all around, and that it's less like hyper-faced damage like you can experience on Minecadia. When it comes to Skyblock, that actually inspires a large part of the PvE side of the game mode. So we have our own collection systems, which are machines and pet ranches. Those are like automation for the economy, in addition to just economy playing a big important role in general. Dungeons and bosses also come from Skyblock and take part in CCT's gameplay, and then the core of the prisons game mode is just in usually like one spot, but it actually is pretty important. I guess overall in the economy, mining is the best way to make money on the server, as well as utilizing the special areas like the cavern, which is a cave that has regenerating ores, but you can use a special pickaxe that has custom enchants just like you would find on a prison server. So to explain how HCF is involved, again, it's like the core. So if you think about the foundation, it's pretty much HCF when that comes to making a team, claiming your base, having a secured area of land for your base. The fact that you can go raidable, DTR, max team size, all that sort of stuff is kind of coming over from HCF. Another aspect from HCF that is pretty important is the classes. So if we do slash classes, we can go over all of them that we have on the server to start. So gather, the best equipment to use of gathering or while gathering resources of any kind. You can see all the effects here, the abilities that they have, such as right clicking with a pickaxe to open the utility belt, ability to use special gatherer items. You can click on it and see all the stuff we have here. The mining bomb, right click to detonate, fishing bait, and the satchel, which is all really cool. So we can see when we right click the pickaxe, we get access to a utility belt where we can access an anvil or a crafting table. We also have these small items like the satchel where it stores resources in here that you can withdraw, which is very, very cool. We have the fishing bait for increased fishing rates and loot, as well as mining bombs that you can right click to throw down a bomb and detonate it. Next one is the classic archer. So it just has the archer tag, the permanent effects and all that sort of stuff. Moving on from that is the sniper, which is very, very similar to the distance archer from Viper, but a little bit different. You can see we've got permanent speed 3 and permanent resistance 1, and you deal more damage based on the distance from your enemy up to 5 hearts. This is just a red sniper set. The medic is our brand new class that has permanent speed 2, regen 1, resistance 2, and you can support your teammates from a distance with ability packs. Right click with certain dies to shoot ability packs that heal, give regen 3, or give resistance 3. We can go over here and see with the regeneration 3 med pack, basically you can shoot it, and all the allies in the radius of where it lands will get regeneration 3, same with resistance 3, and same with +2 hearts. And this is the set you have to wear for it. Gold helmet, iron chestplate, gold legs, iron boots. And when I say classes, that means any piece of this armor type being worn will put you in that class. So I know we'll have armor sets, which is a special piece of armor, but like actually having on any iron chestplate, any iron boots, and any gold legs and helmet would make you a medic. Moving on is the sorcerer, which is very similar to Bard from HCF, but it's a little bit different because it's only aggressive. So it's speed 2, regen 1, resistance 2, but all you can give your teammates are aggressive effects. So that means weakness 3, strength 2, speed 3, wither 2, slowness 1, jump boost 8. And then you have the special star item that is the sorcerer's wand that you can like left click to change between all these spells and right click it to cast. So it's like an unlimited effects in one item, which is really, really good for saving hotbar space. But as you can see, only aggressive effects, like all of these are pretty much arguably aggressive. And then all like the healing ones is gone to the medic, which is regen, resistance, and hearts. Then we have the scout, which is very similar to rogue from HCF, but it is very different because your speed 3 rotates between speed 3 and speed 4. I think you get 30 seconds of speed 3 and then 10 seconds of speed 4. You also get perm res 1, and you can backstab your enemies with a golden sword to deal a large amount of damage. It's very, very different though, because there's also scout energy that you need to perform a backstab, as well as, you know, medic and sorcerer do have energy as well supported. I kind of forgot to say that. And then of course we have the diamond class, which doesn't actually do anything specifically, but the abilities and the effects, if you are wearing a specialized armor set, which comes from the faction side of things, will give you that, obviously. But yeah, those are the classes that we have on CCT right now. So I'll move on to the faction side of things, which is mainly just like the custom PvP equipment and stuff. So we'll start off with armor sets. On release, we'll have 5 armor sets. We have the Adventurer, which you deal 25% more damage to all mobs, permanent haste 3, and gain 2x XP. And while wearing it, you have a chance to harvest double resources. So all this is just a diamond set, but it's a special diamond set so that you need this actual piece of armor and need to be wearing all of it in order to gain the rewards. Then the main PvP sets will be Goliath, Mamba, and Tropico. You can kind of see how they are distributed. Goliath is the tanky one. You take 15% less damage. Whereas Tropico is the more aggressive one. You deal 15% more damage. And then the middle ground of Mamba is 7.5%. You deal extra, and you also take 7.5% less. They all have their own abilities. Goliath, you're immune to slowness. Mamba, you're immune to, or actually you're given a special ability where you can inflict your enemy with venom. The best set that will be pretty clear is the Koth set that you can only get from events on the server. Not just Koths, but basically all competitive events, which you take 5% less damage from all enemies, and you also have a +1 protection level, as well as a +1 sharpness level on the sword. I kind of forgot to show you guys the swords as well. There's their own buffs there. So 3.75% more damage with the Goliath one. Mamba has 24% more durability damage dealt, and Tropico has deal more damage to players holding axes. So all of these armor sets, basically every single item that I'm going to talk about is all obtainable in game. We have so many things that give people access to loot tables. Like for example, envoys are going to happen frequently. You can see in chat we have Dragon's Den that has chests that respawn in certain intervals that will also have loot. We also have the Wasteland Bunker. We have just PvE events, PvP events. There are so many different ways that players are going to be getting loot, and I promise you it's not going to be anything like the partner item situation that it was on HCF, where you had to have partner packages or reclaims and stuff like that. Speaking of reclaims, there are none. We have no reclaims on CCT and have no plans to integrate those. Moving on to custom enchants. Custom enchants will be a very, very large part of the server, but it won't be as volatile as they would be on other servers like Minecadia. Again, that's one of the reasons that I find Minecadia fun, is the volatility and stuff like that. But I also understand the perspective on the other side, that less volatility and making it more balanced overall, so it's not super aggressive all the time, is also good. So I understand both perspectives, and there will be a complete different playstyle between the two. So don't think we're just copy pasting over and making it the same thing. If we do enchants though, we have a few rarities. We got basic, uncommon, elite, and legendary. Those are the main ones. Then we have the spiritual enchants, the adventurer enchants, and the ancient enchants. Ancient is like the rarest. Spiritual will be using our spirit gems, which have like kind of like the soul gems on Minecadia, and then these will be the 4 main tiers right here. So Cobra custom teams will have an enchant limit of 5 enchants, whereas on Minecadia you have like freaking like 10 or something, which that can get overwhelming sometimes, I understand, but here you can have up to 5 enchants, and then you can add an orb to make it 6. Okay, we are open to changing this even lower in the future, but I think 5 is a good like place, especially with the enchants that we have included in CCT, that you'll know exactly what you want to put on your set pretty easily just by reading the descriptions, and so that there's still value and grind to make a god set, because that's one of the best things that I find about, you know, Minecadia as compared to what HCF was that HCF, all the items were pretty much worthless to everybody because of how OP the economy was. But on Minecadia and on CCT, there will be a grind, risk, and value in PvP, because you're going to want to get your god set. You're going to want PvP. Even armor sets will be rare. All that sort of stuff will be rare. And there's just so many things affecting PvP, which does give it that whole, you know, factor of being scared to die, which is something that did not really exist on HCF for some time. So with custom enchants means all the consumables that you guys are used to also are going to be there. So black scrolls, white scrolls, transmog scrolls, slot crystals, armor orbs, weapon orbs, which you will be familiar with. Again, I'm not going to go into the details of like every single consumable. It will be on the website though. Another addition to the custom PvP on CCT that will make it grindy, unique, and just different in general are the addition of masks and pets. So starting off with masks, we only have a few to start. We've got the construction mask, crab mask, disguise mask, Mask, Enchanter Mask, Modern Mask, and the Samurai Mask. Some of these may change, like for example, a Disguise Mask. If we remove MC overall, this mask won't exist, which that's like kind of undecided because it's kind of a small thing. All these other ones though, Machine Rate, we'll get into that. That's an economy based one. Crab Mask is probably the best one, as well as the Samurai Mask, at least in my opinion. Immune to being attacked by Fishing Rod, and you enjoy 5% damage reduction. Again, we already went over Disguise Mask. Enchanter Mask, pretty basic XP multiplier. Modern Mask, a 20% chance to negate Ancient White Scrolls, which if you don't know what those are white scrolls that you can place on your armor that basically ensures you'll keep the item on death, but there are some content that negate that, such as this. Okay, so you can see that. Samurai Mask, immune to Hunger Loss and take less damage based on your XP level. So all you do with masks is attach them to your helmet. So if I wanted to get one, for example, like the we'll just get the Crab Mask. We'll go ahead and we can literally plop it on our helmet. It attaches it, and now we have the Crab Mask. You can see in chat that we've equipped it. And then of course you want to take it off, you just right click it and it takes it off. And of course we have Empty Mask right here, which we can go ahead and get, and that is one that you can combine 2 masks onto a single thing, but you can't detach them, just so you guys know. And then you could equip the multi-mask. Moving on to pets, we have 4 tiers: uncommon, elite, legendary, and ancient. So these pets, basically you can have them in your inventory. If they're a passive pet, you'll gain the benefit permanently, even as long as it's in your inventory. If it's an active pet, it'll only work when you right click it and there's a cooldown associated with it. So Bunny Pet gives you jump boost temporarily. You can see based on the level of the pet, you get a certain effect. And we do have something new for those that are familiar with the pet system. On CCT, we have shiny pets, which is a very rare thing to happen. When you hatch a pet, there's a chance it can be a shiny pet, which has a higher level cap and therefore higher benefits towards the end, and go all the way up to level 150 instead of 100, and you'll get higher benefits. Every single pet has a shiny variant, which is really cool. But yeah, Bunny Pet gives jump boost temporarily. Ghost Pet gives speed temporarily. Night Pet deal extra damage to hostile mobs like bosses. Pig Pet is a passive one, which gives you saturation. So you can pause on all of these to see the specifics of them, but it's all pretty cool. The elite pets, we got the Enchanter Pet, the Mermaid Pet, and then the Sheep Pet. Moving on to legendary, these are the main PvP ones that you guys will probably use when you actually do get them. The Barrier Pet, the Cage Pet, the Ignite Pet, the Medic Pet, and the Sonic Pet. And then moving on to the ancient tier, this is the rarest tier, again, for both pets and enchants, super rare to get. But we've got the Flash Pet, the Spirit Pet, and the Teleport Pet. Again, Teleport Pet is pretty cool because it kind of reminds me of just something that would be really good for base raiding back in the day. So I will comment right now about base raiding and, like, you know, the gameplay aesthetic of, you know, CCT. We're intending to encourage PvP in our war zones, which I'll get to later because the war zones are its own thing that we're going to be talking about later. But there probably will still be that whole aspect of the smaller teamed players like solos and stuff like that wanting to base raid or let players in their base. So that's going to be something that will be possible, but everything that we're doing in this game is encouraging other stuff, because I feel that the whole meta of letting people into your base, like wanting them to come in, is just incorrect. It shouldn't be like that on HCF. The reason it was like that is due to the overinflated economy and the difference between a non-rank and the highest rank on this server. So that's not going to be a thing on here. It's going to be a pretty grind starting from start of the world, which means that there's not going to be people that are just going to be wanting to run into your base with their loot, as well as vice versa of people wanting to even try trapping. But I don't disagree that I know that players are still going to try base raiding and players are still going to try trapping, and both of them, they will be possible in their own ways. We will have modifications to the system overall. Like, I don't want there to be stupid traps, and there's not going to be stupid partner items like there were on HCF, which is, you know, good. So admin items are just a special name for OP items that are super rare to get, but they are obtainable, and they usually have some sort of specialty about them. Sometimes it's like an above enchant. Like, for example, if a custom enchant has a level of 5, it boosts it up to 6, which does make it better. So we do have 3 admin items to start, which is the Blood Saber. Nothing is, I don't think any of this is over map limit. It's just a really good sword. It is a Tropico sword as well, so it goes good with that armor set. Then we've got the Chaotic Maul, which is with the Mamba set. I think this one does have an above map one, which is Petrify 5, I'm pretty sure. Oh, this one does as well. So yeah, that's that. And then the miscellaneous is the Cobra Eggs, which is just a knockback 3 eggs that might be pretty useful on sky bridges and stuff that you can find in our war zone. For star items, the only one we have right now is the Sorcerer's Wand, like I said, but star items are basically items that you can attach to your armor in order to get special benefits, and they are super rare and they do have really good abilities. But we are taking it very slow with introducing a bunch of stuff. But yeah, guys, I know I went over a lot right there, especially for the people that are playing from HCF or plan to play. Like, I don't want any of this to be a turnoff to you. Obviously, HCF is down bad. It's pretty much dead right now completely. And I think it's worth giving this a try. If you've always been turned away from You know, like HCF players, there's a bunch that were turned away from partner items. I don't want you to compare this to partner items and think, oh wow, there's so much custom stuff going on, it's not competitive, blah blah blah. You guys got to give it a try, because I promise you it's a lot more fun than you think. The last thing that affects PvP is these things called artifacts, which they're basically items that give special abilities, and they're consumable, but they're completely and only obtainable in game, and they are very niche. Okay, if I do artifacts, you'll probably recognize some of the, what the heck, did I spell that wrong? Artifact, there we go. Okay, you'll probably recognize some of these functionalities, like the Rod of Paralysis. You hit a player 3 times to restrict them from placing, breaking, or interacting blocks for 10 seconds. We've got the Teleportation Ball, swapping positions with a player in a radius. The Pocket Spell, right click to receive a portable sorcerer spell. And then the Web Egg to throw a volley of cobwebs. But you may notice something at the bottom, view upgrades with / skill tree. We'll get into that later. But yeah, those are the only ability items that there are on CCT, and it's really niche. It's pretty much just to support that lower level play style of smaller teams and players that want to run into bases, try invis raiding, or I mean, if they want to try trapping, like legitimate trapping, if you know what I mean. Moving on to the worlds, we have the Warzone, the Wasteland, and the End City, the top 3 places that you guys will be playing all around. Basically the Warzone, which is, we're in the spawn right now, but if I fly out, it's the Warzone. I've already showed this off multiple times, but the Warzone just has a bunch of points of interest all around. Like right here is actually the place for capture the flag. A flag will spawn inside of the top floor on here. Over here is the end exit, which will be right around right there. We also have an NPC right there for one of our quests. We've got the Cobra Snake right here, which has the King of the Hill at the top. One of our new events at the bottom, Control the Zone. Again, we'll get into that. We have an entrance to a PvE event called Temple Run right there. We have a cave right here that actually is used in the Multiversal event for one of the core things. And then right here is the end entrance, the only end entrance on the server. So the Warzone, again, is the main source of PvP. That's what we're encouraging players to go to. We have a lot of things that take place in the Warzone. Oh, there's another Koth right there, such as envoys, which is going to be a very significant factor of the economy, where players are going to get looted off of stuff, which is basically when just chests appear and you loot them and you get a bunch of items and stuff like that. We've got Warzone bosses and hacker eggs. Hacker eggs are kind of like spawning your own boss, but they're NPC bosses and you can get your own stuff from there. But Warzone bosses are things that spawn every certain amount of time at like specific times, where that when you kill it, you get team benefits for the hour. So it's very similar, which I was actually inspired by the League of Legends Dragon system, or the Drake system, but to do this: the Ocean Elemental, the Infernal Elemental, the Mountain Elemental, the Cloud Elemental, and the Elder Dragon. And you can see what the benefits they give you, they lasting 1 hour. You got +2 max hearts, permanent regen 1, permanent strength 1, increasing outgoing durability damage, incoming reduced damage, and then permanent resistance 1, as well as permanent speed 3 for your team. And then the Elder Dragon gives you all benefits for an hour. So all those, when you kill the boss, if you're the last hit on the boss, your faction or your team gets all of the effects of that elemental. Pretty cool system, definitely going to be one of the competitive things. We also have a Sky Bridge in spawn right here, which I think we have a Koth right there, and we are going to spawn, I think the Cloud Elemental will like spawn up here, because, you know, it kind of fits the theme of the cloud. So there's no roads within the Warzone, as you can see, kind of just like an open area. I think it goes, it's 1,000 blocks by 1,000 blocks, so it goes to 500 to -500, and it just has, you know, builds everywhere, different themes everywhere. We got, you know, some craters here with some broken bridges, don't fall down those. And yeah, we plan to change up the Warzone like every map pretty much. We want to give it a fresh feel every time. We'll probably rotate some of the events around and all that good stuff. Moving on to the Nether, has completely been rebranded to the Wasteland. As you can see right here, it is built on a nuclear fallout theme, which again is its own custom Warzone, a little bit smaller, but they all have events in each quadrant, purposes and stuff like that. This is the area for the Secure the Payload event, which is where you have to push a payload along the rail, reach the destination, kind of like you would on Overwatch, and the team that does that wins the event. So very, very cool. If you want specifics on the events, again, you're gonna have to wait for the master post, but they do work in a certain way so that it's fair and it makes sense for, you know, obviously a payload event in the middle of nowhere has to work a certain way for it to make sense, because Overwatch is team versus team, but if it's just in the middle of nowhere, it's got to have a certain functionality. Over here, we've got the Wasteland Bunker, which is very similar to Treasure Island in a way that it has regenerating ores inside, as well as a chest spawning system that is kind of like Envoys, but even better because it's in the Wasteland, and it'll only spawn 1 chest every X amount of time. This terrain is much more flat and it can, you know, contain and stuff like that. Over here, we've got the Abandoned Amusement Park, which has a Koth in it. I believe we have other purpose for this as well. I'm kind of just forgetting. Actually, no, this zone is intended to have the Capture Zone, which is utilized in various different events, not just Koth, but again, other stuff like the Multiversal event and all that sort of stuff. stuff. Going over here is the final quadrant, which is the Abandoned Stadium. This is going to be home to the Wither event, which takes place on start of the map, as well as Oddball. If you played Halo before, you know what Oddball is, just think of that event. It's kind of like Capture the Flag, but you don't bring the flag back to your base. You kind of run around with the Oddball and gain points. So we'll be explaining all the events in detail later. But yeah, that's where that is. And again, it's just kind of a really cool custom wasteland build that goes all around. And also in the Nether, we do have a special build called the Dark Fortress. So if you go over to this quadrant, cross the bridge, the abandoned bridge, you can get all the way over to our Dark Fortress, which the best way I can describe this is like, it's just really, really cool because this area is going to be guarded by hacker bots. It's going to be like an outpost-like event, meaning you can capture it's 24/7 by breaking a core, kind of like DTC. And when you win the event, you control the event, you'll get passive benefits. But yeah, it will be guarded by hacker bots that will attack you unless you kill enough of them to gain their respect and they stop aggroing on you. It's going to be a really cool event, a 24/7 event for one as well. And yeah, it's over here in the Dark Fortress. So the next world is the End City. The whole logic of this is that the end of HCF has been completely redesigned into something way bigger and almost like literally its own world. Whereas like End on HCF was just like an island that you'd go to and you'd run to from an entrance to an exit, and all there was were creeper spawners and enderman spawners. But on here we have multiple islands all with their own purpose. So right here is the starting island. You will spawn right there. There'll be some stuff in here. We have some pretty cool functionality coming, like an end cannon, where you can actually load up in an end cannon and choose what island you like to launch to, just in case like maybe these two bridges are being camped by PvP factions. We will have a way of doing that. So over here, I believe this is the nature island. Yeah, the wood is going to be regenerating. The sand is regenerating right here, and then the fishing pools give like better drops or drop rates. So yeah, this is the nature island. Moving on to the creeper island. This will be where the creeper spawners will be. The central island, we'll get to that soon at the end, but that's like where a bunch of the stuff is. So going over here, this is actually going straight to an end exit. So this is one of the end exits right here, going to those two islands to this one. We'll loop around the other sides over here. This is going to be another path to the end exit from this island, which is the cavern island, as well as an extra end exit. We actually did that because since it is a little bit more split up, it's a little bit easier or way harder to kite out in my opinion. So we do currently have two end exits, the one right there and the one over there. But yeah, in here is the end cavern. Kind of already explained this, but you have the special pickaxe, the regenerating ores, and this is one of the areas for it. Go over here. That's like the main purpose of this island. Going over to this island over here is the Koth Island. There's an end Koth right there. There's nothing much else for this island other just for PvP. Over here is the Glowstone Island. All the glowstone will be regenerating. We also have like an interior glowstone area right here, and it goes down a little bit further over there. So yeah, that's the Glowstone Island. I think those are like all of the islands yeah, those are all the islands other than the central one, which is right here. So the central one is going to be a very, very important island. The Dragon Den, which you guys may have been seeing those messages take place in chat, is actually right here. This is where chests are going to be respawning with loot, and they'll also be regenerating ores. You can see the chests right there. And then out here, we have quite a lot that will be happening. So obviously, Enderman will be all around the end. That's the whole point of the end. But then we have the specialized islands. But then we have specialized events. The end event, which is a very big event, completely brand new, will take place here. You can see some of the aspects of it all around, all these towers right here where there'll be end crystals. There's just a lot of stuff that's coming with that. I'm not going to explain the whole event. It will be on the master post though, and we have already explained, I think, the concept of it in one of the breakdowns. But yeah, it's a pretty intense event. It's one of the significant events because it only takes place when the end opens on start of the map. So we'll get into that soon as well. Moving on to the team PvP content, I'm going to try to quickly brush through these because I feel like I've explained some of them. So obviously we'll have King of the Hill, Vidu/Koth. You can see it's just, you know, the Koth system, same Koth system as normal, just a little bit visual tweaks and stuff like that. Then we have Control the Zone, which is similar to the Koth system, except the capture points, they are a lot larger in size and they have no corners to stack on. This is one of the Control the Zones, and the way it works is standing on it for a minute gives you a ticket, and first 15 tickets win, or those are all configurable, can change, but that's the logic behind it. It's not like a cap zone where you need to do 15 minutes in a row or however long. This is just get one ticket every minute on it. Even if it gets contested, as long as you don't get knocked off it, you still gain your tickets. Then we have Hardpoint, which is like the Call of Duty event or the Call of Duty game mode where it cycles through a bunch of the capture zones. So if I hardpoint, let me start one. Basically, a zone will swap between, you know, every however long. You gain points by standing on it. So you can see there's a hardpoint zone right here. So yeah, that's how that works. The next one that I want to talk about is like one of my favorite events, which is Capture the Flag. It's really really unique in a sense, because I don't think it's ever been done on like a PvP live competitive server like this before. So basically, a flag will spawn, you run through, it's like a hologram floating flag, and when you run through it, you'll be applied slowness, you won't be able to pearl, your chords will be broadcasted in chat on the scoreboard, and the goal is to run the flag all the way back to your claim. This goes back to when I said about how there's some advantages for building on the side with the events, because then you'll be closer to capture the flag and you can win it easier. The next event is actually a play off of capture the flag in a way. It's Oddball, which is from Halo. That's where I got the inspiration from. It's basically capture the flag, but in actually the stadium that I showed you. So the Oddball will spawn right here in the center. It's very similar to capture the flag because you have to walk over it and you capture it, but to gain points, you have to stay inside of the Wasteland war zone, and your location will be broadcasted. Everyone will be able to find you, and you just gain points while holding the Oddball. So there are some restrictions when you do hold it. I believe you can't attack other players, kind of like the Halo event. You are also given slowness. You can't pearl, and you can't leave the war zone of the Wasteland. But I think you can drop the Oddball on the ground in case you want to like get the hell away from him. So that's one thing. Or if you die, it drops onto you. But yeah, it's kind of like a point-based system, leaderboards, but you have to run around kiting a ball around with slowness, can't pearl, and your team has to protect you. Again, another really cool event. I love that one a lot. Honestly, another really good event, which I'm surprised I didn't even recognize as one of my favorites, but it is one of my favorites, is Secure the Payload from Overwatch. Like I already said, I already showed you guys the area. You gotta push the minecart towards the end of the destination. That's how you win. And another event is called Hell Cage. It's kind of similar to Warp Koth on Minecadia without the Koth. It's a /Hell Cage. Basically, it's a free-for-all, team free-for-all. Keep inventories on. There's a shrinking board and you have 1 life, and you can join during the grace period, which is 3 minutes, and then after the grace period ends, you can no longer join, and the last team standing wins the event. The next PvE content goes towards our Skyblock and Prisons playstyle. Like I said, I already talked about Cavern, but we have dungeons on CCT, which is basically, it's kind of similar to the aspect on Minecadia, but completely different dungeons, different styles. But that's where you like place down a portal, enter the dungeon with your team, complete the dungeon, and earn rewards. If you don't complete the dungeon, you don't earn rewards, but you don't lose your inventory either. Already went over the Warzone bosses, which are kind of like the dragon system from League. That's a PvE thing. Hacker Eggs, it's kind of like spawning in your own boss, but they're NPC bosses, which again, you can kill, get rewards. Temple Run is actually a solo dungeon. It's only solo, so it's not like the one on Minecadia where it can be completed by a solo. It literally is only for solo, so it's a really cool event, and it has, you know, obviously the Temple Run theme. Moving on to 24/7 events, Envoys is one, Dragon's Den is one, Wasteland Bunker is one, which I've already explained, like all of these envoys. This is just chests falling from the sky with loot. Dark Fortress is like a 24/7 stronghold outpost type of thing where you gain benefits from capping it. There's also mini games. Obviously, we have mini games on here. We have a bunch of them, Battle Royale, Sumo, all these sort of ones that players can win for rewards. The last sort of thing when it comes to competition, events, all that sort of stuff is the big events, which are the weekend events. So of course we have the end opening event, which I've already referenced. We have the Multiverse event, which is like the replacement of Citadel. It's nothing like Citadel, but it's replaced in the aspect that it's the important event that takes place on the Saturday. Then on Sunday, we have the Ferocity event, which I'm not going to explain all of these, but they are just completely brand new, unique events. I'm going to have the full typed up description on the master post because they are kind of, you know, not complex, but a lot to explain. Basically, multiversal, you can assume what it means. You have to do things in 3 different worlds at once to gain points. Ferocity is similar in that aspect, but it's more about doing things in a fast, ferocious rotation in order to gain points. The second weekend of the map is going to be the Bunkers tournament as well as the Factions tournament. And then those tournaments can be bring your own gear or a pre-made kit for, you know, more competition. I've mentioned economy a little bit, but money is a huge role in here. We have /AH, like an auction house. We have /trade. We have /shop. You can see, oh, I can't even do all these. Let me just go /1. Oh no. We've got /shop with building blocks, colored blocks, spawners, machines, miscellaneous, farming and food and minerals. So the economy, like I said, the best way to make money on CCT, kind of like HCF, is mining. Then it goes to fishing. Then it goes to wood cutting. And then it goes to farming. So farming is the worst method. We don't want people really making like cactus farms or sugarcane farms for money. We don't really like that. We want them to mine. And there is automation on the server called machines. I think I've referenced this a little bit, but they're basically machines that are based off of the tiers of making money, and you place them down, you fuel them, and you gain money over time as long as you're online. Again, I'm just going to try to go over the basic ideas. I feel like this video is already like 30 to 40 minutes long. If you do want more detail, you can watch each individual breakdown, which again, like goes into different categories. Like there's an economy breakdown, there's a PvP breakdown, there's an events breakdown, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, there's machines. means. There's other stuff that can be done with money, like you can access all the server shops, like I said, buy spawners for XP because there's an XP shop. There's another form of automation called pet ranches, which are really, really cool. You place down a pet ranch in your claim. You can only have one per faction. You can put pets in there and they will actually generate you money, as well as a chance to generate a mysterious artifact over time, which if we go back and you guys remember, artifacts are those special ability items which can only be obtained through pet ranches, which are obtainable in the server/shop. So all of this can be obtained without paying anything, guys. It's completely, everything is obtainable and realistically obtainable. There's also a skill tree, which I can show you. I actually don't have it ready to show you guys. It's maybe one of those things that is saved for the first map, by the way, but we will see. So there's a skill tree for every class. So you can upgrade like your benefits and boosts and buffs for every individual class. So there's sorcery, well, it's called a sorcery tree, but for the sorcerer, there's a scout tree, there's a artifact tree to actually upgrade what the artifacts do, which is really, really cool. I believe there's a gathering tree, and there's an archery tree, which goes for like sniper and archers. I might be missing one, but that's one of the coolest things. Again, you can actually buy skill points with in-game money, and that's how you level up your skill tree. Some miscellaneous stuff: when you kill someone and get their head, you can sell their head to steal 2% of their balance. By the way, there are no longer faction balances. All balances are individually based, meaning if you're claiming, it comes out of the person who's claiming balance, as well as you no longer lose all your money on death. You only lose money when someone gets your head, sells it while you're online, and steals 2% of your balance. There are no PVs. There's nothing like that. I think there will be an ender chest storage though, just due to the nature of how god sets work and how, you know, there's just a lot of stuff going into that, but that's a whole other story. Obviously, HCF at start of the world processes where, you know, you just had a starting timer or SOTW timer. You ran out, probably just claimed a base, built a base, used the block shop, bought some freaking glass, made a box, and then you waited till it was over. No longer will that be the case. Okay, as I said, there's no reclaims for any donator rank at all. We have no plans to add any as well. So yeah, it's way different. But anyways, if I do /phase, you will see all of the map phases. Phase 1 is the gathering phase. So this will last, I think, 2 hours or 1 hour. I don't have the exact times, I forgot. It's in the breakdown video. But basically, the gathering phase, nobody can claim for their base. So that means that the queue is less pay to win as it has been on HCF, because players will be able to get in over the first hour and not be at a disadvantage for claiming at all. But you will probably miss out on some advantages if, you know, the server's capped out or something like that. Envoys are disabled, End of Nether is inaccessible. Warzone spawners are disabled because there will actually be, oh, that's something I forgot to mention, there will be creeper spawners in the Warzone craters. So you will be able to get GP in the overworld Warzone, but the only place you can get pearls is in the end. There's just a bunch of different things you can get. There's some boost right there, /shop, PvP is disabled, can't take damage. Phase 2 is the building phase where claiming enables. Some of the stuff stays, like End and Nether still disabled. Printer enables though. Printer is actually a command that puts you in creative mode and automatically charges your balance for blocks that you place, which should allow for more creative building and will also actually allow the printer mod in order to, you know, print in nice bases. Again, it's 3-week maps, so don't be building no glass boxes. This is the exploration phase. The border actually increases. I don't think we have that noted here. Oh no, we do have it noted here. It goes to 3K. Some stuff enables, the Nether enables, but PvP I believe is enabled in the Nether. Then there's the Warzone phase, which is all about like expanding the Warzone. So what happens here is the Warzone spawners get enabled, /printer disables, all of the buffs kind of tighten up and it gets more towards the actual gameplay experience. Phase 5 is the quest phase. We just have a quest UI that only opens during this phase where that you can complete for rewards. Then we have the minigame phase where minigames get enabled and the rewards and the rates are all boosted. Then the booster phase, which is the final phase of Start of the World, gives just boosters for the rest of Start of the World. Some of these lores are messed up, by the way. In Phase 4, we still have to fix that. But Phase 4 is actually when PvP enables in the Warzone. Same with damage. So I don't know why it says invincibility in Warzone or Overworld. That's not true. Then the first major event is the End phase, which is when End actually opens, the End City. But that's the next day. It's not going to take place on start of the map. It's going to take place in the middle of the day of the next day on Sunday, which is going to be when one of the first big events happens, the End opening. And probably the most significant thing I have not mentioned this whole video, which I don't know how I didn't mention this yet, you cannot go raidable for the first week of the map. Similar to how Factions has a grace period where you can't get raided for the first week, CCT has the same sort of grace period where you can't go raidable for a week. So we do have some things, implementations to stop players from just coming back to their base when they die or wherever they die, which is called region bans. I completely forgot to say there are no death bans on CCT, but there are region bans. So if you die in the End, you can't go back to the End for 5 minutes. If you die in the Nether, you can't go back to the Nether for 5 minutes. And the only other region ban is if you die in your own claim. You can't go back to your own claim for 5 minutes. But everything else, if you die in Warzone, you can come back right away. Again, the first week of the map, no DTR loss at all. That should contribute to more risk taking, an easier flow of gameplay for players that are, you know, either inexperienced or low team or have to take higher risk due to having a low team, and just so that people don't have to lose everything they grinded for in like a day or two. It just doesn't make sense for as a game mode to sustain like that, and it kind of makes perfect sense if you really think about it. The last thing we got to talk about is the end of the map, which is an end of the world event. So it's very similar, except there won't be any death bans. It's actually going to be an end of the world leaderboard event, meaning there's like a 3-hour long event, I think it's 3 or 4 hours, that has a special leaderboard that has hyper events. So every event, like all the ones that I talked about, Hardpoint, Hell Cage, all sort of stuff, will activate super quickly, and as soon as one ends, another one starts. And that's how you gain points on the end of the map leaderboard. So it's not just some boring COF that, you know, dictates everything. It's like a super hyper fast paced event schedule that adds to a leaderboard. Kills add to leaderboards, deaths take from the leaderboard, and I think we still want claims to be rateable, so you still have to like be on the run and stuff like that, but the events are like going to be super fast paced. Like for example, a COT that was 10 minutes cap time before will probably be like 2 minutes or 3 minutes cap time. And like I said, all these stats will get saved to our website. We can distribute map points to the map winners so that, you know, they can build up a reputation over time based on the performance of CCT. But guys, I gotta end it off right here. I've been talking for so long. I hope it wasn't all over the place and you got some sort of understanding of what we're trying to do. I know there's a lot introduced into it, but if you really think about it, if you just step back and think about it, it's HCF mixed with factions, mixed with some Skyblock and Prisons PvE, okay? But at its core, I think this is the new HCF. This is what HCF needed. Just a whole redesign, revamp, and something that is completely brand new, okay? So if originally, you know, some part of the server doesn't appeal to you, maybe give it a try, see what we can build here. We're hoping to build a new community that can preserve players for years to come, and, you know, serve as a kind of like a mantle for more creators to enter the community. Because I remember when HCF was popping, there's a bunch of YouTubers starting to upload, gaining traction, but these days it's like I'm not seeing anyone new. So I'm hoping to see some creators come out and, you know, try to play, guys. Well, guys, I'm gonna end it off right here. Hope it wasn't too long a video. I'm sorry to my editors, probably gonna take a while, but that is going to be all, guys. I will see you guys in another video tomorrow, which should be a Minecadia video. I was going to upload one today, but I got really tired, so I want to do this one instead and give you guys a further notice on Cobra and catch everyone up to speed, because I know I haven't updated many people on my channel about Cobra. I've been actually just doing it through the Cobra brand. So again, all the information down below in the description. Ask any comments. Enter that giveaway as well. 25 ranks. That's pretty big. That's going to be all, guys. I'm going to end it off right here. Bye.